They tell you the ghosts at Waverly Hills don't mean harm, that they're just echoes, residual spirits playing out their final moments, that the sanatorium is just another historical haunt. They're wrong. I didn't believe in ghosts until I went to Waverly Hills Sanatorium. Now I don't just believe in them, I fear them. It began as a film shoot, a night-locked project for a small horror YouTube series. We were the thrill chasers, paranormal documentarians with gear, flashlights, bravado, and exactly zero clue what we were walking into. 6 hours, locked inside Waverly Hills, cameras rolling. We didn't last 3. The building itself loomed like something out of a forgotten war. Angular, solid, black brick and bone-colored tile. We had our history, sure. A sanatorium opened in the early 1900s for the treatment of tuberculosis. But Waverly was more than a hospital. It was a world, an ecosystem of the sick, the damned, the trapped, and the tormented. Before antibiotics, TB treatment was a hopeful mix of rest, surgery, and prayers that often went unanswered. But that's the version you read about. The version we walked into was different. The halls welcomed us with silence. You've never heard silence like this. It wasn't empty, it was waiting. The kind of stillness that's too alert, too present, as if the building itself was holding its breath. The first floor held the offices and the echoes of mundane life. A cracked desk, a rusted gurney, layers of mold thick on the walls. Nothing overtly frightening, just the heavy weight of time. Aaron got a false hit on the EMF meter. Tyler joked that the ghosts were playing with us. I kept glancing over my shoulder. It already felt like we weren't alone. The second floor was surgery. You didn't need a sign to know. The air smelled wrong, like scorched oil and ammonia. There were metal tools still sitting on trays, dissected stretchers, overhead lights that flickered without power, and something else. A long smear down the hallway floor. Dried, rust-colored. At first, I thought it was graffiti, but the pattern repeated. Fingers. Someone had been dragged. We followed it until the trail ended in a room with shattered mirrors and an overturned surgical lamp. Tyler's flashlight died. Then mine. Only Aaron's kept working. He pointed it toward the far corner. There was a handprint on the ceiling. Small, childlike, pressed into the paint from the inside. We didn't speak after that. The third floor was quieter, almost too quiet. Patient housing, supposedly. Rows of cots, now rusted skeletons. Windows looking out into the woods. Except when you looked, there was nothing outside, just thick fog. A dense, choking mist that shouldn't have been there. That's where we saw the first figure. A woman, white gown, no face, standing in the hallway. Aaron called out. She turned, but there were no eyes, just hollow sockets and a mouth sewn shut. She didn't move. We turned the other way, fast, but every time we passed a hallway, she was there again, waiting. The fourth floor was colder, much colder. We were breathing fog now. This floor had been for the dying, the terminal cases, the ones who coughed up blood until their lungs collapsed. The beds still held indentations. There were claw marks on the windowsills, and in one room, on the wall above the bed, the words, "He watches through the mirrors." I asked who he was. No one answered. We didn't use our real names after that. Then came the death tunnel. We went down. I don't know why. The chute was narrow, steep, concrete walls dripping with moisture. The further we went, the darker it got. Aaron led with the EMF. I brought up the rear. About halfway down, we found a room off the tunnel. Inside were gurneys stacked like firewood. Some still had restraints, and there were bones. Real bones. Not whole, cracked, scraped clean. Aaron screamed. Something brushed his leg. We ran. The tunnel stretched forever, but we reached the bottom. The door was open. Fresh air hit us like a wave. But Tyler was gone. He was with us. Then he wasn't. Just gone. We made our way back up to the 5th floor, searching. Aaron begged to leave, but I said we couldn't. Not without Tyler. So, we went up, and the door was open. Room 502 was glowing. Not just lit glowing. A dull, pulsating light from within. We stepped inside. The room was clean, sterile, fresh linens on the bed, flowers in a vase, a heartbeat monitor beeping steadily. There was someone in the bed. It was me. Not someone who looked like me. Me, unmoving, eyes closed, IV in my arm. Aaron turned to me, his face pale. "You died in here." "No," I said. "We're alive." But he pointed at the monitor. Flatline, and the body's eyes opened. I woke up screaming in the tunnel, covered in mud, alone. The sky above was red. Not morning, not dusk. Wrong. I climbed. Floor after floor. All empty. No sign of Aaron. No cameras. No exit. When I reached the 5th floor again, it was gone. Walled off. Like it never existed. I banged. Screamed. No response. Then, I heard the lullaby again. And saw her. The nurse. She was in every window, every hallway, and the words written across the walls. "You never left." When I finally found the main doors, they were wide open. Daylight poured in. The guide was waiting. "You're early," she said. "It's only been 30 minutes." I couldn't speak. She smiled. "Most people don't last that long." I turned back. Waverly looked unchanged. Just a building. Empty. Dead. But I knew better. They found the footage days later. Every clip had been replaced by looping hallway scenes. No voices. No faces. Just doors opening. Then closing. Over. And over. Weeks passed. Aaron never resurfaced. Tyler's name began appearing in my dreams. Carved into walls, into flesh. My own voice calling for him. I tried to move on, to rationalize, tell myself it was just fear, suggestion, mass hysteria. But Waverly doesn't let go. I still see reflections that don't match. Still hear a second breath when I lie alone. I received a postcard last week. No stamp, no return address, just a photo. The 5th floor hallway, and scrolled across the back, "You're next."
There's a shadow in the hallway and a voice beneath the floor. I lock the doors, I hold my breath, but it's closer than before. A cold wind in the mirror, footsteps on the stairs. I feel it watching silently, but nothing's ever there.